Wind turbines like these have become a familiar sight in Britain in the 21st century. They are providing an ever-increasing proportion of the country's energy needs, and doing it without the environmental consequences of burning fossil-based fuels. In many cases, wind farms are located away from urban developments and in isolation, within their own secured perimeter, so few people will be familiar with working near them. Some wind farms, however, like here at Weir Point, are located on sites where other, potentially hazardous facilities are also located. So it's important that personnel on the site are aware of the normal and abnormal operating conditions of wind turbines, even if they are not directly involved in wind generation. Weir Point Wind Farm shares the SEM Logistics storage facility site on the north bank of Milford Haven. The site is also home to Dragon LNG's 2 gas storage tanks. Because of the nature and importance of both these operations, the site is designated a top-tier coma site, and as a result represents a greater risk than a remote rural location. It also means that site security is a priority. As a result, only authorized contractors will be allowed access to the turbines or the substation building, and only accompanied visitors authorized by Weir Point Wind Limited will be allowed in the structures. Authorized wind farm contractors must access the site through the main security gate, and no work is to be carried out on site without approval by and a permit issued by SEM Logistics Permit Office. Sharing this site with other facilities makes it even more important that everyone using or visiting the site, not just those specifically concerned with the operation or maintenance of the turbines, are aware of and are able to distinguish between normal and abnormal operations of the turbines. Knowing the difference can minimize the consequences of minor incidents and prevent their escalation to major incidents. To meet its statutory obligations, WPWL carried out a detailed safety assessment as part of the planning application for the construction and operation of the wind farm. This found that no unacceptable additional risks were posed by the wind farm to the neighbouring facilities. This training program will explain the workings of the wind turbines and enable you to identify normal and abnormal turbine operations and react accordingly. First, let's look at the wind turbine setup here at Weir Point and how they work. The facility consists of 4 Senvion wind turbines and a substation building. Each wind turbine consists of a tower, at the top of which is the nacelle, which houses the electrical generator, driven by these 3 rotor blades. The nacelle is free to turn and always faces into the wind, with its movement directed by wind sensors. The turbines can operate all year round, in wind speeds between 3.5 and 25 meters per second. That's 8 miles per hour to 55 miles per hour. Each turbine will produce just over 2 megawatts of electricity at full capacity. The rotational speed of the blades is dictated by wind speed, rotating faster in stronger winds and slower in light winds. If the rotational speed of the blades reaches 17 RPM, the rotor shuts down as a safety precaution. The height of the nacelle above ground is just under 60 meters, and the tip height above ground is just under 100 meters. At ground level, the substation controls and converts the electricity generated by the turbine to a higher voltage, suitable for onward transmission to the national grid. The turbines are monitored continuously, with a regular 6-monthly maintenance schedule carried out on them by suitably qualified and experienced personnel. Wind turbines are very reliable, and incidents and accidents rare. The turbines are designed, installed, operated and maintained to industry standard and best practice, so the likelihood of an accident or incident is very low indeed. Nevertheless, WPWL has, as part of its detailed safety assessment, drawn up an emergency response plan. And though the ERP does not require any intervention from those working on site, it acknowledges that observations made by neighbouring personnel can provide very useful feedback and enhance emergency response. So how do you know what is normal and abnormal turbine operation? In normal operation, most large wind turbine blades, like the ones we see here, will revolve between 8 and 16 times a minute. That might not seem very fast, but by the time the gearbox in the nacelle has done its work, the shaft turning the generator will be doing 1800 RPM. So you see that it doesn't take a large increase in blade rotation speed to cause the turbine shaft to overspeed. In our emergency response plan, there are 5 scenarios we consider abnormal turbine operation. 1. A turbine nacelle fire. 2. Loss of control. 3. A turbine blade throw. 4. Ice throw or drop from rotor blade. And 5. A tower collapse. Let's look at each in more detail. Although very unlikely, fire in the turbine nacelle is a possibility. A fire can be the result of an electrical fault or from mechanical failure due to the turbine blades overloading in high winds. If you see smoke or flames like this coming from the nacelle or turbine, contact your line manager or any SEM Logistics personnel immediately so that the turbine can be safely shut down. Loss of control. Again, this is extremely unlikely because of the fail-safe systems built into the turbine. But loss of control can happen due to a control system failure, a mechanical problem, or excessive wind speed. Again, contact your line manager or any SEM Logistics personnel immediately so that the turbine can be safely shut down. Loss of control can lead to blade failure and blade throw, which can cause major damage to the tower and nacelle, and might affect a large area around the tower. It is important with all these scenarios to remain at a safe distance from the incident, and to report your observations to a responsible person immediately. In severe winter conditions, ice build-up on the turbine's blades is a possibility. If this happens, the turbine is designed to shut down, and so the following scenario is very unlikely. In the event that the turbine does not shut down, ice can continue to build up on the blades, and can drop to the ground or be thrown off, sometimes a considerable distance. Again, your line manager or any member of the SEM Logistics team should be contacted immediately so that the turbine operator can be informed and the turbine safely shut down. Although very rare, a tower collapse is nevertheless a credible accident scenario for which a detailed safety assessment has been carried out. A tower collapse can be as a result of blade failure, a fire, mechanical failure in the nacelle, high winds, or lightning. As before, your line manager or any member of the SEM Logistics team should be contacted immediately so that the turbine operator can be informed and the area made safe. In all these scenarios, it is wise to remain at a safe distance from a turbine that exhibits any abnormal operating behaviour. Debris from a turbine blade can travel a long way, so stay well away. In the unlikely event of any of these scenarios actually happening, then the first thing to do is to raise the alarm. You can do this by either using a radio, if you have one, to inform your control room,
This is SEM control room.
or by making your way to the SEM Logistics control room or the main gate security lodge. Plant operators also have radios, so you can find an operator and have them pass the information on. Next, stay clear of the affected area, and if you hear the site alarm sound, go to your nearest muster point by the safest route and follow the emergency procedures that you saw in your site induction program. Do not start work again until instructed to by a competent person. We think we have covered everything you need to know about the Weir Point wind farm if you are working on or visiting the SEM Logistics site. But what if you have to work within the wind farm perimeter? Remember that the wind farm site and the substation is restricted to only wind farm contractors who have received the appropriate training and can demonstrate competence by certification. Anyone working inside must be covered by a current permit issued by SEM Logistics and a permit issued by Weir Point Wind Farm Limited. You must be equipped with a working two-way radio and must only access the turbines by the authorised walkways. SEM Logistics and Weir Point Wind Farm Limited are proud of their good safety record here at Milford Haven. Please remember everything you have seen during this short presentation and stay safe on site.